Okay, so experience number two. This one happened a few years later. This one was in 2008, I believe. I'm pretty sure on that. And I was round my friend's house, Lewis Ferrier. Um, Once again, this whole fainting thing was catalysed by me viewing something violent. So we were all sitting in his room. Most of us were sitting on the floor, and we were all watching YouTube videos. You know, we was kind of flicking through, as you do, going to the related videos section and just kind of going with the flow of that. Somehow they eventually ended up on some street fighting video, and as previously stated, I do not react well to such things. So I was just trying my best to avoid the video. My eye contact was just drifting away, trying to avoid it. But you know, I didn't want to seem... It's not that I didn't want to seem rude, but I guess I just didn't want them to mock me, you know. I guess I just didn't want them to see that I was avoiding it and say, oh, you know, you can't handle it or whatever. So, you know, every now and again I would glance and watch for a while, and God, it was horrible. It was horrible. Then eventually I remember glancing round just at this most horrendous bit where this fighter gives this other guy this massive uppercut, and you just hear this crunch, which is obviously his nose breaking. The guy just flops to the floor, and it was just blah, horrible, horrible, horrible stuff. And then the guy was like over him, taunting him, saying, come on, get up man, and he's like, no, I'm done mate, I'm done. It was horrible, absolutely vile, you know. And once again I start feeling this phasing out kind of feeling. I start going very, very lightheaded, and I'm just feeling like I'm going to be sick, you know. So I get up and make an excuse that I need to go to the toilet, leave the room, close the door behind me, and that's the last thing I remember, for a moment at least. Next thing I remember is just being back in that same place again, that inner realm, my mind's eye, whatever you want to call it. And I just remember hearing harp music. Now this might sound bizarre, but it's such a distinct memory. It was like angelic harp music. Sending a chill down my spine now just thinking about it, because it's a really palpable feeling. I can still feel it now. The feeling it evoked within me. It was bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And I just remember hearing this voice saying, it's happened again, it's happened again. Then I remember seeing this blinding white/yellow light. It was like a flash, but it wasn't just a flash that came and went, it was a flash that came and stayed. And I just sensed this presence again, same kind of presence from last time. And I remember it just approaching me, and it just said, you remember, yes, you remember. I don't know what it meant, like, I guess it meant, do you remember how to re-merge with the body? Or do you remember, as in, do you remember me? Or do you remember this place? Or I'm not entirely sure what it meant, but it just said, you remember. You remember, yes? And I just, at the time, it made complete and utter sense to me, and I was like, yeah, of course I remember. And then the next thing I know, I'm conscious again, out of my mind's eye, and back into reality. I don't like calling it that, because, you know, what is reality really? I believe every layer of existence is reality. Dreams are reality. Waking life is reality. Interdimensional experiences are reality. But, you know, I need to use some sort of term to express to you me entering back into the third dimension. So for the sake of time, I guess we'll just call it reality for now. So I come back to in reality, but my eyes are still closed, and I experience that memory loss thing again, where I just don't remember the being, I don't remember what just happened, I'm just completely confused and disorientated. Slowly but surely I try and rationalise, and I think, okay, where am I? Where am I? And then I suddenly remember, oh yes, I'm around my friend's house, Lewis Ferrier. Okay. Where in the house am I? I'm thinking, oh yeah, I was in the room with all of them lot watching that video. And then it sparks back off the memory of seeing the guy getting punched, and I think, oh yeah, I must still be in the room with them. And my conclusion is that I've passed out in front of them all. And then I remember the voice, and then I remember the presence, and my rational thinking mind just says, oh, that's what it was. I was just in the room with them, and I was hearing them speaking, saying like, oh, it's happened again, look, he's passed out. And I think, oh, right, okay, this isn't as weird as I thought it was. I wasn't experiencing something, you know, paranormal or interdimensional or whatever you want to call it. It's just my friends. It was just my friends talking in the background. Okay. And now I start becoming really conscious about opening my eyes, because I think, oh no, they've seen me pass out, they're going to mock me, they're going to take the piss. But eventually, you know, I have to muster up the courage. So I open my eyes, but I ain't in the room. I'm outside, by the bathroom, and I look round and the door's shut, and then it all properly comes back to me. No, I'm not in the room with them. I did leave the room, and I did shut the door behind me. So I start thinking again, no, this was something weird. And again, I don't really like to use that word, because nothing's weird. Everything's normal in its own little way. And it's just our human perception that makes us see it as weird. But again, for the sake of time, I'll just call it weird for now. And so yeah, I just go into the bathroom, I kind of splash some water on my face, come to, and re-enter the room. And I remember thinking, okay, this will be the real test, because if I go back into the room and they did see me or hear me pass out, and it was them that I heard, then they will definitely, without a doubt, say something to me. Because that was the kind of people they were, you know? They liked to mock people in jest. They liked to rib on people and, you know, tease people. So without a shadow of a doubt, if they were aware that I had passed out, I was about to walk into that room and be laughed at. But, as I'm sure you've all guessed by now, I wasn't laughed at. I just walked back in that room, sat back down, and continued on like nothing had happened. So, as far as they were aware, I'd just gone to the toilet, like I'd said. So that was real confirmation to me that, wow, okay, something interesting just happened. This time it was more of an instant kind of hindsight. I could put it all together and have some sort of coherent chronological order 5 minutes after it happened. I think that's indicative of how I had grown a lot as a person. I was a lot more lucid, as it were. Okay, so I don't particularly want to theorise about what this all meant. I do have my own theories, but I want to leave it up to you lot to come up with your own theories, you know? I don't want to just say, this is what it was, end of story, and wrap it up in a nice little bow. I think it is extremely important that everyone thinks for themselves. So, I don't want to tell you what this all meant. You know, what do you think it meant? You tell me. Was it just a delusion on my behalf? Maybe. Was it an interdimensional experience? Maybe. Who knows? You tell me what you think. Because I am genuinely interested to hear what you think. I'm not just saying that. I do genuinely want your feedback. Because I don't know for sure. I'm not that naive that I will just say, I am 100% sure on what this meant. I'd say I'm 90% sure of what that meant. But you can never be 100% sure in this realm about anything, really.